Fatima was determined to save the day. She was tired of people treating her like a child. I know what to do, she said to herself. I will save the day and be a superwoman. Just then, Grandma Eva appeared with her list of to-do things. She looked overwhelmed and tired. She stretched her hands in the air and sighed. How I wish God would send an angel to help me. This was the golden opportunity Fatima had been waiting for. She knew exactly what to do. She ran up to Grandma and said, Hey, Granny, I can help you with that list.
Books for children provide windows into the world. When we have books for African children that show the continent and that are produced in ways that are exciting to them, then we're showing them your story is just as important, your story is just as valid, and why shouldn't that be the case?
Growing up, it was sometimes very difficult to identify with some of the characters or the experiences or situations in books that I read.
When children grow up seeing themselves represented in books, there's incredible research that shows that they learn better, they grow better because they understand those stories. So imagine a child growing up in rural Ghana in a place without electricity, and the book that she's given is Snow White. So half the lesson will be spent explaining to this child what snow is, and the concept the teacher could use, which is like, oh, ice. The village doesn't have electricity. How do you explain ice?
I remember my first book I read, written by an African writer. I saw on the cover page an illustrated boy, black skin. When I flipped through, I saw that, well, this was written by Misha Kasari, a Ghanaian author, and he had won so many prizes. Until then, I never knew that a black person could also write books like that.
I realized that there was a bit of a gap, and the gap was in the area of literature for children, children's books particularly, because I had grown up mostly reading books that were published in the UK or from somewhere else.
When children see themselves in the books that they read, it's kind of like boosts their self-confidence.
We cannot say that it is impossible for us to produce our own books and for those books to rival some of the best books in the world. The African continent does not have a shortage of stories. It certainly doesn't have a shortage of writing, talent, or of creatives. The only thing there's a shortage of is opportunity.
Writing your flashback in a different point of view or verb tense can also help distinguish it from your main narrative, helping to avoid confusion. And that's the big thing, really.
I met Deborah 6 or 7 years ago in Singapore. We'd both been invited to talk at a conference there called the Asian Festival of Children's Content. And when I met her, I was very struck by her wonderful energy and focus. And she told me about Golden Baobab. What is unique about it is that it's seeking to support and mentor and grow authors and illustrators based on the continent of Africa for readers on the continent of Africa, as well as for readers worldwide.
Sometimes you might have difficulties connecting with other writers, knowing about opportunities, for instance. The workshop and the opportunity I saw in it was essentially about learning the craft of writing, whether it's building characters, whether it's working on settings, dialogue, and how you can use them as an author to good effect.
We, the illustrators, telling our stories, not just to Ghana, but the world. Golden Baobab helps to really bring some of the dreams or ideas into fruition. She's not one of those people who starts and then stops and then starts and then stops. She's literally been working on giving African writers and illustrators opportunities.
In terms of pluralism, what those opportunities achieve is us creating a more inclusive world because our children's literature becomes more inclusive. And by so doing, the windows that children grow up looking into is more inclusive. In a continent like Africa that's so diverse, so different, from one tribe to another in one country, and from one country to another 54 countries. I mean, the wealth of stories, the wealth of ideas to engage with, the wealth of different people's realities to appreciate and love. And if we can bottle those up into beautiful stories, into beautiful books that children all over the world can escape into and fall in love with, for me, that's just a world that should exist.